She's asking us her questions to speak about certain things. Then at the end of it, she said, you were right to bring her. She definitely has a speech delay.
I'm here at the hospital waiting for Asa to have his surgery. Are you fine? Are you happy?
Dumelang. So it is a Wednesday. It is a Wednesday afternoon, the 19th. Is it the 19th? I'm just coming back from the doctor. So Sunday, on Sunday, it's Asa's birthday. And she is turning 5 years old. I actually almost forgot that it's this Sunday. I thought it's next week because kuningi. And I thought that I should come here and share our journey so far. I'm so excited for her that she's turning 5 years, but sometimes I'm a bit worried for her because her turning 5 years, it means that we must start preparing for her to go to grade R, and then we must start thinking about schools and all those things. You might be wondering, if you have not been here, why am I scared and worried? The reason why I'm worried is because when Asa turned 4 years old, she was diagnosed with slight to moderate speech delay. Basically meaning that she was not meeting her speech milestone the way she's supposed to compared to other kids. And since then, we've been on that journey of helping her to discover her speech, to be able to articulate herself, to be able to communicate. And it wasn't, you could have missed it. It was such an easy thing. Like Asa, from the beginning, she was able to communicate with us. If you asked her to get something, she was able to go and fetch it. If you ask her to come to you, she would come. Like, it seemed as if she was communicating just like all the other kids, just like her two brothers. And I was okay with it. It was during that time of the lockdown, and she had not started to go to crèche yet. She was still at home staying with her late great-grandmother, which was my grandmother-in-law. I was okay until I think when she turned 2, after 2 years, then we took her to crèche. And there would be days where she was still speaking in baby talk, baby talk. Like, yeah, there was a lot of baby talk. So I thought it's because she is the last born and she's enjoying being a baby for longer. So I took it lightly. And I think also it's because, we live in a time where we are trying so hard not to compare our kids to each other or to other kids. So even the issue of milestones, I'm one of those people who does not like it because it can put so much pressure. Other kids, they start talking early while others, they take their time. Other kids walk early while others don't. So for me, personally, I just feel like unless there is something that is really wrong or they are telling you, the doctors have said something, it's something that you can let go of. That was the case with Asa. I did not want to compare her with her brothers. And when I looked at her, everything was fine. She was communicating with us. She was able to say mama, sorry, mama, papa, oki, dodo, and all this thing. Like, so it was fine. Then when she turned 3, I realized that, okay, still some of her words were not developing the way I'm expecting them to. But even then, I was like, no, it's me. By then, she was going to crèche. It was in the location. And when I was asked for progress, they were like, she's okay, she's doing well, she's playing. Yeah, and she was singing some of the songs. So I let it go, and I will speak to few people, but then they will also reassure me, then I will let it go. And I remember one time I took her to the doctor because she had flu. And I asked the doctor, I said to him that I feel like, can you refer me to a speech therapist? And he asked why. I said, I feel like she should be speaking clearer than the way she is right now. And the doctor was like, okay, he asked Asa some questions, and Asa answered, and he was like, no, you're just overreacting. She will outgrow it. Then, because there is no parent who goes out there and you're like, I want my child to be sick, or I want my child to be diagnosed with something. Even when I was asking these things, deep down inside, I wanted someone to say that I'm overreacting. I want that reassurance that there's nothing wrong. So when the doctor said that I'm overreacting, I was relieved. So I went home and took the doctor's word for it that, okay, I'm overreacting. By then she was 3 years old and she was about to turn 4. Then we continued. The things that for a parent, I'm just sharing this information for someone who might be going through this, or who might be wondering, or you're a first-time parent and you're not sure what to look for. So the things that I had an issue with were simple things, like she couldn't say gugu. Instead, she would say dudu. She couldn't say car. She would say ta. Yeah. So it was mostly that, like the car and the ga word and the car word. But some of these things, she was able to say them. Sometimes she will even shock us. She will say words that we did not expect her to be able to say. So we continued. Then I decided to remove her from the crèche that she was going to. The reason why I removed her, she kept on getting sick. You know, she will have flu, then she will stay home. We'll take her to the doctor. She'll stay home. She'll feel better. Then after 2 days, it will start again. And one time I was asking the principal that I noticed that Asa gets sick a lot. Maybe it's because of where her classroom is. And the principal was like, no, but she's the only one who gets sick. All other kids are fine. And which I believe it was a lie, but I understand that a lot of people are not used to feedback. So maybe she felt like I was attacking her, even though my tone was very nice. And it was a genuine concern. Because of that, I decided to take her out of a crèche and look for a multiracial one. I'm one of those people who believes that I used to believe it, that there is no need for me to take a small child to a multiracial crèche, especially when they are still small. So with all my kids, I prefer for them to learn a vernacular language before they can go and know English. Because once they go to multiracial crèches, it's not easy for them to know their vernacular language. What I will do, we will take them to a school around the location so that they can learn their mother tongue or their father's tongue. Then later on, when maybe they are 5, we will remove them and take them to a multiracial crèche, preparing them to go to grade R or grade 1. And I had this conversation with my friend G. She is here on YouTube. You should check her out. So I had this conversation with G after we found out that Asa was diagnosed. And I explained that usually I don't like taking my kids to multiracial crèches or schools from an early age, because I feel like they lose their language. So I want them to know their language. And I'm sure someone is like, but when you and your kids are always speaking in English. Yes, they speak English mostly, but it's important for them to understand their language. So like Ogi, he understands Sotho and Zulu. He's able to speak. Yeah, so Tiamo is still, he's getting there, but it's important for me. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you take your kids to multiracial schools from the crèches from the beginning, or you wait for a certain age before you expose them? So G said something to me that I wish we had the conversation before. Basically what she said was that for her, taking her kids to multiracial crèches is because they have the resources that most of the crèches in our location, they don't have. Which was such an aha moment for me, because the reality is that multiracial crèches, they do have resources. They have speech therapists who comes, they have ear specialists, they have all these people who come to do tests and whatever. And sometimes it looks like they are exaggerating. But now with my experience with Asa, I understand the importance of having those things, because I feel like if maybe she went to a crash like that, they could have detected earlier that she needed help instead of later. So I took her to a multiracial one, and it was fine. I was okay with it. The place was so pretty and nice, and I loved it, and Asa seemed to be happy. But I just felt like when I got their report, I felt like they don't see my child. Because one thing about me, I want my kids to not be a number. And I'm willing to pay money for my kids to not be a number. So if I'm paying money and still it's like you don't see them, I don't see the point. Why am I making the sacrifices? So the crèche, they sent a letter saying that there's going to be a speech therapist. I want my child to be assessed, and I agreed. I think it was just a random one for all the parents. So I signed. After a week, I waited for them. No result. 2 weeks later. Then I go back and ask, and I'm like, what's happening? I'm waiting for this. By then, as I was 4. Yeah, I think she was already 4. Then it turned out they lost the paper, so I had to complete it again. I think that was the thing I needed to say, no, I'm removing her from here. I'm removing her because I felt like they didn't really care about her. So I removed her and I took her to another crèche. Then that one, I absolutely loved it. Oh, before I took her to the second crèche, what happened is that one day I just woke up and I looked for a speech therapist nearer in Soweto. Then I got the number, I phoned, and I made an appointment. I decided that I'm going to take her. If I'm wrong, it's okay. If she does not have any issue, it's okay. At least I know that there's nothing. She will outgrow it. But if there is something, I wanted her to receive the help that she needed. So that's what I did. I went. It was so scary. I remember I was busy Googling, asking, what's happening, what could be happening with her, what does she have, and there will be different answers. So I decided to just go to a professional instead of relying on Google. I went to the speech therapist and she asked me, one of the questions she said was, who referred you? I said, no one referred me. I looked at some of the signs and I felt that I should just bring her. So then they did this exercise where they are playing. She's asking us her questions to speak about certain things. Then at the end of it, she said, you were right to bring her. She definitely has a speech delay. Hearing her saying it, as much as I suspected something, but hearing it being confirmed, I was crying inside. It was me and Harvey and us. I was crying inside because hearing it removed the hope. Before I had the hope, I could hope that, no, I'm overreacting. I could convince myself that, no, I don't see it. I could convince myself it's not the way it is. But hearing it being confirmed by a professional, it just made it so final. And I was not okay. I listened to her. She said we must get her a couple of books so that she can practice words. And I think when I was listening to her in front, when they were talking, you could hear it. I couldn't deny that she couldn't say car. Cow, she will say tau. I couldn't deny that she couldn't say good, she will say dude. Like, it wasn't an easy one. So we left, and I remember we went to buy her ice cream when we left. Because for some reason, it's like she could feel that something was happening. She was like crying, she was saying she wants to go home and all these things. I think she could sense the mood. You know how kids are sometimes? They are able to sense whatever is happening. So we did that. We went to buy ice cream, then we went home. I literally, for that week, I think I couldn't even take pictures. And I realized later that I take pictures when I'm in a good mood or when it's not a major thing. I couldn't take pictures. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even pray. I couldn't pray. I remember I will try to pray and I just cry. I just cry that God. And it wasn't, I'm one of those people. I don't believe in these things. You must not ask why, because who else? No. I believe I have a relationship with God where I know that He can handle my questions, where I know that He can handle my pain, my sadness. So I was honest with Him. I cried. And one of the things I was very from the beginning, I communicated clearly was that I do not want someone who's going to tell me that this is God's will. Because I understand the Bible. And I know that sickness, disease, death, sorrows, they do not come from God. That was not God's will for us. They happen because of sin and the result of sin being here on earth. So I did not want that. But also I know that sometimes God allows certain things to happen, even if it's not His will, because He knows that it's going to work together for our good. So I had to, at the beginning, I didn't understand how is it going to work for us as good. I did not understand why does my daughter have to go through this. I think I felt more sorrow for her than actually why must it be so hard for her to be able to learn how to talk when it's something so simple for everyone else. Yeah, but that's what happened. So we started going to speech therapy, and you discover that sometimes your medical aid is not going to pay. You need to pay cash, which we were fine with it because we have the resources. But I was thinking, for families who do not have the resources, what happens to their kids? After 2 months of going, I felt like I did not resonate with the speech therapist. And as a result of that, we were taking Asa to a new school, the new crash. So they had their own in-house therapist, and I decided to try her out. The reason why I did not I just felt that our first therapist, for her, it was another child. It was another case. But for me, it was my life. It was my daughter. And I did not want someone who was going to treat it as a casual thing. I wanted someone who was going to treat it with a sense of agency. And I didn't feel like she was doing that. And it's not that she was a bad person. I understand. Maybe she's used to this. For her, it was like a minor thing. But for me, it was a big thing. And I wanted someone who was going to make me feel that they are taking it as a big thing. And that is where I found our second therapist, who is Nazmira. I love her. I truly thank God for her. So the first time I spoke to her, the question she asked, there was this assessment. The question she asked about how was my pregnancy, when did I give birth, how was the delivery, did Asa go through any traumas, what was happening in her life, what's happening in my family's life, in hubby's life, you know, all these things. Like, you could understand that she wanted a holistic picture of what's happening with Asa and the reason why she's going through this. And when I was answering the questions, I was thinking about certain things like Asa. It was during lockdown, so obviously she did not communicate so much with outside people. Then after that, she lost her grandmother, her great-grandmother, who used to stay with her. That is a comfort, because sometimes we don't really consider that how certain things affect kids. I think there is a car outside. I hope that I'm very clear, even though. So that is what happened. She asked the questions, then I sent her the response. And first thing, they went for the assessment with Habi. I was not there. It was Habi and Auntie Bongi. When they came back, Auntie Bongi was very happy. She was like, yo, I wish you were there. You would have loved her. I love the way she communicated with Asa and everything. So then when she was giving me the feedback, Nazmira, she asked me, did Asa do a hearing test? And I'm like, yeah, when she was a baby. Because we never really think about these things. You know, you do a hearing test that time. Then after, like, guys, we really never think about so many things. Like, you just have this baby and they just grow. They start talking. They start talking. We never really teach them we never really take a moment to teach them. It just happens. And that is what I was realizing, that my journey with Ogi and Siamo was so easy. And I expected the same thing to happen with Asa. So when she was asking, I'm like, okay, should I take her to Discam for a hearing test? She said, no, can I please take her to an audiologist? Then I looked around, only to discover the first one she referred was so expensive. I'm like, no, and I'm going to pay cash. No, they don't want medical aid. And I couldn't understand what's the point of having medical aid is if all the specialists, they want you to pay cash first, then claim from the medical aid. And so where are you supposed to get this cash? Because the whole reason we have medical aid is that if you need it in an emergency, so you know that you can use it. So then she referred a second one, at least that one, she agreed for us using a medical aid. Then we took her to her, they did the test and what. Then she was asking also questions about, okay, did she ever get ear infections? One thing that happened with Asa, when she started crash, she used to get flu, but then she will be okay. Then she will go back to school. So, but I don't remember her having a real infection, ear infection. But I remember she didn't want us to hold her ears. So she explained that sometimes what happens as kids are getting ear infections, instead of, it's not the wax, whatever it is, instead of it getting out, the liquid, it goes inside their ears, then it blocks the passage. So basically when she was checking us, she could see that one of her ear was blocked, which meant that when we said God to her with certain sounds, they were not going through. That is why, because I used to get so frustrated. I say Asa, goo goo, then she'll say do do. I say goo goo, do do, and she will say it with such confidence that I couldn't understand what's happening. So she made me understand that no, what happens is that certain words, they couldn't go through, and she did not hear it the way we are saying it. Hence, she will say it back the way she was hearing it. That was such an aha moment for me, and also a relief to know, okay, that is what's happening. And I felt so sorry for my baby that is what's happening. And the other thing I realized is that we never go to specialists. We wait for the GPs to refer us to specialists because somehow we think we must wait for the GPs. But with my experience, I've learned that you can just go to a specialist. You don't need a GP to refer you. Yeah, I just needed to throw that in so that should you be going through something and you feel like you are waiting for your GP, no. You can just go straight to a specialist. They will be able to help you. Then she said that she needs to go to a ENT so that they can check her out and see if they need to do a surgery or whatever. December was horrible, guys. That was like in November. December was horrible. We called the ENT. They were about to close. Then they said she can come that week just for a checkup. We went for a checkup. They said definitely they need to put in grommets inside her ears because they wear that liquid and what. Then I asked the ENT because I noticed that when you asked her to take her tongue up, she couldn't do it. Like she will take it, but she couldn't take it up. She could take it sideways and down. So I told the ENT that I've noticed that. Then he asked her to do it. She couldn't. Then when he was feeling, he said her tongue was tied. If some of us, you might know, when we were growing up, I remember they used to say, so basically that was happening. And they used to do it like traditionally, they will cut the child and what. So as her tongue was tied, then the ENT said that during the surgery, they are going to also cut her tongue so that it can move more clearly because that might be the reason why some of her words are not so clear. The agreement was that we'll come back ka 11th Jan. Then we went home. Yo, guys, I think I was just crying. I will be strong and everything. Then when I get to my room, I will just break down and cry. And I was doing a lot of worshiping. I was praising and worshiping God. I was declaring everything that I want to see. you know. But it was challenging. December was not nice because I was thinking about this surgery that is coming. But also I wanted to create a great Christmas for my kids, festive season for all of them to enjoy. That's what we tried to do. Until I think it was on the 11th of Jan, we went for the surgery, and thank God everything went well.
Hey, baby.
Are you the one that talked to you?
Hi, Asa.
You cross for Uma.
Hey, baby. Hi, Asa.
Hi.
How are you?
Okay.
What are you doing here?
Washing.
What are you watching?
Medowa.
Okay. Are you fine? Are you happy? Asante Dlamini. Dumelang. Okay. Naketeni. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here at the hospital waiting for Asa to have her surgery. She's going to do her ears and her tongue. We've been here since 6 o'clock, so I'm sleepy. I want to sleep, and we have no choice but to wait. Yeah, trust in God that all will go well.
This thing stays with you.
What's up?
Mommy, it's a Timmy did must have.
Do what?
Me pay aside or must have.
When the doctor came out, he told me that the tongue was tied more than they thought. They thought it was so small, but it was deeper than that. While we were there was a family with the Asa and the child was sharing a ward. The child was like 6 months old, so the mom was telling me that she's there to also do a surgery on her tongue because it's tied. And the mom was sharing how the baby, when she was breastfeeding, they couldn't, like, she will pour, the milk will come out, she will cry. She tried everything until her midwife was like, no, the reason why she's struggling is because her tongue is tied. So you see, because she was like, she took the child to a pediatrician and all these things. So my encouragement, especially to us as parents, is that if you feel or you think that there is something wrong with your child, please fight for your child. Please knock on doors. Please continue asking questions. Even if people make you feel like maybe you are overreacting or they make you feel like you are not a professional, don't stop asking questions for your child. Your child, they deserve that help. Trust your gut. Trust your gut as a mom. You know best. You know your child best. So that child had their surgery. Imagine they are 6 months old, and I was just so happy for them that they wouldn't have to struggle like the way Asa struggled, because really it is a struggle. It's like now she must unlearn what she was used to, because she found ways of communicating. Now she must unlearn those ways and learn new ways, which is not easy. All of us, we know it is not easy to learn new things, and it is not easy to forget or move away from what you have known. But I thank God so much that the surgery went well and everything was good. If you watch my video of Get to Know Me, one of the things I said was that if I had an opportunity to talk to Jesus, I was going to ask, when will Asa be completely healed, especially in the physical? Because I see the progress. I see her. Just yesterday, something funny happened. So it was me and her dad. We were going to buy bread, and she's like, Mommy, am I sick? Mommy, do I have flu? Am I sick? Then I'm like, no, my baby, you are not sick. Then she's like, can I have ice cream then? I'm like, I was like, how, Asa? So we had to buy her ice cream because it's like, clearly I'm not sick. Why should I not have ice cream? So she is doing so well. She is talking. She's able to express. Just this week, Tiama was helping her with her words. And Tiama kept on saying, Asa, you must do it like this. And Asa looked at Tiama and was like, calm down. Tiamo, calm down. Some of the words we get so shocked because we don't even know that she knows them or she knows how to use them. So I'm so grateful for that. And I thank God that we had the resources because it's a lot. She's still attending speech therapy and she goes 4 times in a month. Yeah, 4 times in a month. And we are paying it cash instead of medical aid because when we're looking at it, it didn't make sense for us to pay cash, then have to go back and claim. So we are paying it cash. And I'm always, as much as I'm so grateful for us that we are able to give Asa the help that she needs, but I'm always thinking about that child whose parents do not have the necessary resources. So if you are one of those parents and you are using the public system, please know that there is help available. Don't give up. Continue seeking that help for your child. And if you are that person, maybe a family member, and you notice that maybe something like this is happening to someone you love, please offer them support. Offer them support. Do not go out there diagnosing them, but just offer them mother support because that's all you need. Sometimes that's all you need, for people to hold space for you and for people to declare good things over your child and for people to understand what's happening with your child. So since I've shared Asa's story and I'm interacting with different parents, I've got to learn so much about parents who are raising kids who are autistic and the struggles that they go through, and the fact that when they go out, us as society, we are not supportive. We look at them funny. We judge their kids. Can we please be kind? One thing for sure, there is no mother who wants their kids to be crying in front of everyone, or a mother who wants their kids to be throwing tantrums. Like, you know, when you are reacting, we are already embarrassed inside. So sometimes it doesn't take anything away from you to just say, hey, mommy, I see you. That's what I do. When I see moms struggling with their kids, I'll give them a smile, or I'll say, Eish, Ghana this ones, when they see people, so that they can feel like, oh, it does not happen to me alone, or I'm not a bad mom. I hope that from this video is going to help you. My encouragement is that if you suspect that there is something happening with your child, please don't wait. Seek help. Ask questions. There is nothing that you are going to lose by asking for help. There is nothing. If you are wrong, then good for you, because now you know you can focus on what you are supposed to do. But then what happens if you wait and it's too late to get help for them? And if you are watching this and you have not sought help so far, please do not condemn yourself, but know that you can start now. You can start finding the help that you need. So that is us. Asa is turning 5 years old. I thank God for her. So far, I still don't understand why are we going through this, but I am trusting God that from this story, He will be glorified. All the glory will go to Him. And one day, Asa will be out there sharing her story and people will be like, you are lying. That is what I always look forward to. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this video with someone who needs it. Just encourage a parent out there. Encourage someone out there that it does get better. It does get better with time. Thank you so much. Bye.